and downsizing may be hard, it's relieving and freeing one should do, while maintaining simplicity over time is a discipline because money can burn a hole in your wallet. But if you can maintain a level of that discipline and keep things simple, you will be thankful for having nothing. And it is true that the more you own, the more things own you. It is not true that just because you have nothing or just because you're a minimalist, you're going to be happy and things are going to be great. That's a falsehood. But there is gratitude if you have experienced having stuff and then downsizing and being very intentional about what you choose to have in your life. I consider myself fortunate to have nothing pretty much at this point in my life, but I have had just about everything I've wanted for the most part within reason for a regular person. And I think you do have to experience excess, luxury. Everyone has a right to experience life. But I want to say that there's been different times in my life where I'm fortunate that I got out of some entanglements with materialism, with relationships, with being in certain environments. And I did it through hard work and through the grace of God, but I recognize in being in extreme points in life how hard it is to break away and how easy it is that once you go down a certain path to just keep going down that path. You say, should you be thankful to live in a car on Thanksgiving, which I'm doing right now, and I own nothing but a bag of clothes? For me, I consider myself fortunate. Now, it's true that I'm doing it by choice. It's true that I maintain an income. It's true that I have my health. It's true that I have a relatively middle-aged youth. So everything within perspective. But I know people in my same age group that they may have not gotten out of having a very expensive car, not gotten out of having a house too big, not gotten out of relationships, and they're in this thing where they have a lot of things. They have a lot of family around them during Thanksgiving, but the stress is not something they're fortunate to have. Cartoon Mark, I love you with all my heart, and just as much love to my brother Charles. I want to say that I'm fortunate that in the land of psychopaths online, I have met some good people. And I catch myself now when I start to generalize everyone online, or when I get too upset with online community, I say, Sam, that you're fortunate to meet some people online. I'm fortunate that I've met and I've had good people in my life in real life. Like all of you, I've had the opposite experience, okay? But we must keep that in perspective in our journey. I always want to tell you, because people struggle with relationships. If you feel like someone did you wrong or someone didn't like you as much as you like them, remember times when someone liked you more than you liked them. Why should you remember that? So that you have perspective that the world is not against you, that everyone's not doing you wrong, and you start to pull yourself back from depression, sadness, or anger, and have some gratitude. Consider yourself fortunate to be single. Consider yourself fortunate to have no kids. Now, if you want kids and if you want a family, I am not against that. Cartoon Mark, love back. I appreciate that. And Charles said hello. The newest member, I hope I say this right. I'm going to say Varex. Adulthood is more about freedom, maximizing time, not in a job you hate. Yeah, but I just want to say, that you have to work a job you don't like in the beginning of your career to build your experience. Because if every job you ever have is a job you love, you're going to be underemployed, underdeveloped, and you're not going to progress. And the time to build your career, if you can, is in your 20s and 30s. And then as you develop your career, as you've been through the trenches, I've worked in a ditch. I hated it. I've worked 2, 3 jobs. I've worked jobs I hated. I've worked low income jobs, high income jobs. And all those experiences, all those times sacrificing, now as a middle-aged man, with the experience on my resume and no gaps, with the certifications that I took certain tests 3, 4 times to pass. It's that sacrifice that now puts me in a position of power. Now, what I've seen people do, that they do all that sacrifice and then they have too much stuff. And then they have all those certifications, but they have no, they have stuff, but they have nothing else. And I've met people who have not put the effort into their career. They have free time, but they have no use for their time. They have no development, and they justify their laziness for the fact that everything I do, I should love. I just think you should, as you get older, do more things you enjoy and less things you hate. You should follow your passion. But in my experience in life, you only get to your passion by going through refining what you like and what you don't like and gaining those experiences so you actually have something to offer yourself, others, and eventually society. Because once you take care of yourself at a high level, then you'll have overflow capacity for others in a certain way. Back to these live comments. Brandon, what's up? Grateful to see you here tonight. I'm very thankful. Good to see you too, Brandon. Look, 5 years on YouTube. I broadcast every day. A regular video, live video, whether it's a holiday, doesn't matter. Why? Because I believe, one, as a single person, unfortunately, I do have extra capacity. 2 is I don't have a big house to take care of. I don't have a lot of things. 3 is I've learned through my other jobs. Remember, I had a nonprofit. Remember, I did ministry for 10 years. I did a lot of volunteer work. Some of it I didn't like to do. But all those things developed me to be a good YouTuber, as well as other things. So if I didn't do ministry, if I didn't do nonprofit, if I didn't do soup kitchens, if I didn't do side work, if I didn't work in a ditch, if I didn't go through relationships, if I didn't go through some things that sucked, what would I be sitting here telling you? Trade crypto, don't work a job, don't accept 90% of DoorDash deliveries. Why don't you just invest everything in AMC stock? Yeah, I mean, it's like, so I'm not saying you can't do other ways than me. See, I've seen enough in life that my way is not the only way. I want to share with you that there's many ways in life to do things. I'm just sharing with you my way, and you'll have to figure out what's best for you. Varex, there's going to be an even bigger labor crisis in 10, 20 years. Remember, if you study human history, they said that during the Industrial Revolution. 100 years ago, most of civilization in first world countries were working on the farm. So when motorized vehicles and farm equipment and then the Industrial Revolution took place, they said, what are we going to do now? There's going to be no people, everyone's farmer. And so what did people do? They got other jobs. So it'll be the same thing with technology. Even if the birth rate's slow, there will be less to do in 20 years. But 2 is I wouldn't plan your life for 10 to 20 years down the road. Because if you're saying I'm going to just sit out for 10 or 20 years and wait for the robots to take over, wait for UBI, you're basically saying I'm going to destroy my life, live below my potential. And even in 10, 20 years, there's always going to be a need for people. And even if there isn't a need for people, you have to do something with your time. And if you don't put a demand on, I hate going to the gym every day. I like how I feel when I get out of the gym, but I hate going to the gym. I've let myself go. I've been obese. And what I can tell you in life, if you don't push yourself to do certain things, you can wish your day. You can say, I don't want to wake up early. Why wake up early? Hit the snooze button. I have nothing. I have no house. I could probably live on savings for a couple of years. You'll destroy your life. Even if you got enough savings to live on for 2 years, you don't have to work. I could do that. I could do that right now because I have nothing. What would I do? I'd destroy my life, and then I'd hurt my future. And so, what should everyone do? Whatever they want. But I want to share with you that you're fortunate to have nothing so that you can do more things you love. But I've had a lot of stuff and I've done a lot of things. And so I have perspective that having nothing doesn't mean I should be more lazy. It means I should go after more of my passion. I show up every day on YouTube. I know people that have no other job than YouTube, and they don't do that. So having nothing doesn't mean be more lazy. It means allocate more time and resources to more passions, more productivity in areas that you're more passionate. But still, I do things I don't want to do all the time. And so I'm doing more now, but it still requires a level of discipline, focus, and maturity that I didn't always have. So I don't want to sit on some high horse, but I always try to develop, okay, and be aware of where I'm at. Avrex, UBI is inevitable. It is, but so is the fact that if you're not productive, your worst life is inevitable. A lazy person will suffer even if I know people in my life right now, in my family, they've never worked. They've had UBI, they've had SS. Go talk to someone who's on SSDI. Go talk to someone who's never worked. I know people in my family never worked. They have Medicaid. They have subsidized housing. They don't have to do anything. And they don't. They drink. They have bad relationships. So if UBI is a hope to do nothing, go look at someone in your life that that's never worked. And look at their relationships, look at their health, and look at their mindset. If that's your goal, you haven't seen real life. I've seen it. I never. Guys and girls, I understand an immature place, and I've been there, so I don't want to act like a hypocrite. But I want to tell you, if you're aware and you look at people in life that don't do anything, even if they have money, they suffer, and you don't want to be around them. And that's been my experience, and that's straight fact. Cartoon Mark, I think you doing these holiday times, but I'm sure you adapt and will be fine. Swinging Spanish Lakes for dinner under mom's and dad's carports. Well, I love you. I've had a lot of generous offers. I'm very appreciative from viewers over the years to come stay at their place. I've never took them up on it. Why? Because I just don't feel comfortable about it. Yeah, but I'm very grateful for all the offers. And that's only emergency if it was ever made. Even that I probably would try to always avoid it. But I appreciate that generous. I know it's probably not serious, but just to say that. And the other thing I would say, yes, living in your car as a nomad or living on the road during the holidays is harder. Why? Because the supermarkets and places close earlier. But remember, the all-night gas stations, rest areas, and truck stops are always open. But remember, I've lived in my car now 5 years. I've lived through several holidays, so I've adapted. I've lived in my vehicle during a pandemic and traveled up and down the East Coast during a pandemic. So I've adapted. And I am going more to campgrounds now, mitigating some risk and creating some stability. In addition to that, I will eventually add either RV or home base, but it's starting with eliminating some of the stealth parking. I did stealth parking for about 90% of my time, but the journey now is evolving. So I am at campgrounds more, and I'm slowly measuring, okay, getting away from some intensity of extreme minimalism and adding very little. Right now, I'm just adding campgrounds. So I always tell you guys and girls, when in doubt, don't buy. Why? Because when you buy, you should never have to rush. That's the whole reason you don't have a lot of things, is so that you can go at the speed of wisdom. if you rush or you feel pressured, there's even a scripture that's talking about giving it to the church, but I believe in the principle, not always literal, is if you do something under reluctance or pressure, it's not a blessing. Now, there's always exceptions in life, guys. I've had to work under pressure. Okay. So I always go back to your life is always not going to be this like everything is easy and nice. But obviously, you don't want to always be operating at this nuclear meltdown urgency level. Okay. And when you feel like you're in that very high anxiety state, you have to check yourself and see why are you doing it and what are you rushing for? Now, look, if you're working during a pandemic, I've worked during a hurricane, had to work. And so it was a very much an emergency situation. I've done overtime. So there's times in your life where you're working and it's very high pressure. Okay. I remember cutting a hole saw in an electrical live distribution panel on my construction days in a hospital because they couldn't turn down, even though they should have, they couldn't turn down the high voltage substation. So we had to cut into this live gear that could have killed us. And it was a lot of pressure. So why am I saying all that? I'm saying these are all the experiences in life that I've learned that you don't want to operate in certain ways all the time. There's always exceptions, but as we mature and we learn from our past, we want to build a life that is not perfect, there's no perfect life, but that's better. And so that you're fortunate, not because you have a family gathering. You're fortunate not because you have a nice car. You know, I was in church a lot of times, you know, people testify I got a new car, and that's great because I've had cars and I've been excited about them, so I don't want to begrudge. But as I mature, I learned that I'm really fortunate for my ability, okay, to be more intentional with my life, more intentional with my time, self-care as the foundation, and everything builds on top of that, you know. Back to the live comments. Varex, do you have a Toyota? No, I have a Jeep. I looked at Toyotas, I looked at the Prius, and I looked at the RAV4 hybrid when it first came out, and I came close to getting one of them, but when in doubt, I didn't buy. Why? Because while Toyotas, I believe, are very reliable, at a new one, I don't buy used cars, because to me, you can buy a used car and it can be a blessing, but most of my first car was a used car. Most time when you buy a used car, you're buying some problems. Now, when you buy a new car, you're pretty much saying you're not going to have any major problems for 5 years, for the most part. So, you know, I rather just buy new. You say, especially now times, to me, you say, should I buy a used car for $15,000 or a brand new car for $25,000? I say, get a brand new Kia Soul, put $5,000 down, and finance it for 5 years. Okay, have a $400. That's my opinion. Why? Because I think if you buy a $5,000 car, you're going to buy another one next year. You're going to buy another one the year after that. And so if you add $5,000 every year for 5 years, that's $25,000. So everyone's different with that. But Toyotas are reliable, new ones. You know, anything old, guys, it's a crapshoot. And the hybrid, and everything's going to be hybrid and electric going forward by 2025, pretty much. But I didn't see enough value to have the temperature control, even though there's value. But I looked at it as, you know, yeah, 2-3 months out of the year it would help. But is it worth it to reinvest in that just to live out of? I came to the conclusion, no. Especially if I don't know yet my long-term plan, do I want a home base or RV? Because, you know, I'm not going to buy a Toyota or a hybrid if I know I'm going to buy a Class B. And if I'm going to get a home base, I want to keep my existing car as long as it is reliable. Because I want to use wisdom. I don't want to buy a hybrid just because it's exciting. I don't want to date someone just because they're exciting. You know, someone left a comment on my video today. They go, oh, I want to know more information about this property. I'm thinking about moving there. If you are looking to move to Florida and you're not looking at and if you haven't visited areas, and if you're not looking on realtor.com in those areas every day, and if you're not working on a job transfer, don't worry about a property. Don't worry about the address, because you're looking to buy a property in Florida. so that you can secure a place for yourself, but you haven't done the work. You're doing things out of order. You'll end up back in Delaware, back in Michigan, bitter, because you think you think by having a house, you're going to improve your life or move to Florida. But it's get rid of everything, visit Florida, get a job transfer, come to Florida without anything other than the essentials, live in Florida, see if you want to do it, then buy property in Florida. They don't want to hear that. They want to hear, oh, I think that house is exciting. It's interesting. Let me know more about it. No. Let me know more about you. Have you got a job transfer? Have you sold your house? Have you downsized? Have you visited Florida? If you like this area, why aren't you looking on Realtor.com every day in the price ranges you're interested in? So you can tell a lot of people and I've been there, so I'm being a little bit firm, but I also want to be fair. I was there about 5-7 years ago, and I was in that same mindset. And thank God I didn't buy, because I came close then. I almost bought a townhome in Florida before I sold my house and moved down here. And I was walking around my community when I still lived in a condo in New Jersey, and an older lady was selling her condo and moving to South Jersey to retire in a retirement community. And I was asking her, I said, well, I think eventually I may sell my place too and move to Florida. And that's the sad part about living in a community. Eventually people sell and community changes. And that's why we're all nomads. I hate to tell you. So, but she goes, well, Sam, my father always told me one thing. She was very old. Her father already died. She goes, never have two houses. Unless you're in it for investments, don't have two mortgages, don't have two properties. Now, there's some people who buy properties as investments. That's a different story. And there's some people who want a vacation home and they're very wealthy. But most people I know, middle-class people, they buy two homes, they have two cars, and they have a lot to be thankful for, but they're stressed out. I have nothing. I have no house, one car, one bag of clothes. I'm very fortunate. So, but I've been immature where I was like, I'm going to buy every house. I'm gonna buy this house. As soon as I get equity, I'm gonna refinance and buy another one. I'm gonna have a weekend car, a regular car. I was in that mindset, so I don't want to be unfair, but I want to tell you, thank God I worked on maturing past that mindset, and so that I can get to this point. For me, some people may still look at my life and say, I don't want to live like you. And I say, that's great. Don't watch me either. Live like how you're living, have fun. Because, it's like, I understand that. All right, let's go back to these live comments. Good comments, guys and girls. If I miss a comment, please type it again. And if for some reason I answer something in a way that's offensive, don't take offense, guys. I'm just being me. Sometimes I have fun. I'm in a good mood, but it's all love. And I understand there's different perspectives in this world. Just share them on. Charles, doing what you like to do is important during holiday seasons as a single person. I enjoy time within my immediate family, but sibling in-laws aren't interested in making an effort to understand you. He continued his thought. He goes, yeah, to understand me as a single person. I totally agree, Charles. Me and you have a very similar circumstance where I would say, look, we're fortunate to be single. We're fortunate we don't have any kids. We don't have any pets. Not to say there's anything wrong with those things if that's what people want. But I just want to say that I know people that were in great marriages and they had great children and they're great people, and I still respect them, even though I don't talk to them. But I know there was times where they say, Sam, sometimes I wish I had it like you. And sometimes I admired what they had. But when I used to hear them say that, I know that they still love their life, because I know a lot of people wouldn't want to live like me, not full time. So I don't think that I live this life that everyone should live. I'm not like that. But I think that it instead of me looking at other people saying, oh, I would want a relationship like that, it just made me be more thankful, more fortunate for my situation. People rush to get into a relationship. They rush to have a child. They rush to get a pet. They rush to get a car. They rush to get a house. And I want to tell you, I'm fortunate to have nothing. Someone play Maxwell. Cartoon Mark, I think we got another Maxwell song. I'm fortunate not to have you, girl. I don't have to take care of kids and a dog. I don't have to work on sheetrock. Fortunate not to have you in my life. Fortunate not to have nothing. $15 super chat all the way from Australia. Jonathan Noors, love and respect to you. Australia is struggling with these mandates. I heard that Australia is back in a lockdown. Out of all the countries, America is doing now one of the best. But I've also heard that Australia has some of the lowest vaccination rates. And, that's an interesting dynamic, but let's read what he has to say. He goes, Australia is struggling with these mandates. It's so wrong. People have gotten so far into debt that it's hard to walk away from the big house, jet ski, fancy car, etc. Well, we're going to touch on that. Oh, Charles, $2.99. Thumbs up, Charles. Appreciation to you. Me and you on the same page. I respect your knowledge. I respect you as a person, and I appreciate you. Jonathan, I want to share this. One is, people have to take accountability. Even during the housing crash in America in 2006, I had negative equity, meaning I owed more of my property than it was worth. I didn't blame Wall Street. I blamed myself for refinancing and living above my means. And it took me another 5 years to get out of it. I knew guys, they blamed Wall Street and they stopped paying their mortgage for 2 years. They paid nothing. And they still blame the banks today. So, one is you got to take accountability if you're living above your means, not the government's fault. Now, with the mandates and the lockdowns, there's a lot of dynamics. Like I say, low vaccination rates there, and there's probably other dynamics. But in Australia, like America, one is, I think, most people got subsidies during the lockdowns. So all I can tell you is there's some things in that conversation we can't control. What you can control is living below your means and up to your potential. See, the problem with having nothing is a lot of times it makes people live below their potential. They don't do extra self-care. They don't do extra side hustles. They do extra napping. See, that's the dynamic with the simple life is, if you're not disciplined, you can turn the simple life into the lazy sloth life. So live below your means, but up to your potential. Hopefully that helped. Jonathan, love to you. And I've had some great viewers from Australia. Shout out to you, Jonathan. Shout out to Juliana, Katie, everyone out there from Australia. I hope that you guys get past this mandate and everything that's going on over there. And love and respect to Australia. I've seen some RV videos too from a guy. He used to RV. He was from Australia. He married a girl from Florida. And they RV'd up and down Florida when I was watching RV videos a couple years ago. Oh, $10 super chat. Child of C. Thank you, man. I'm fortunate. Hey, Sam. I am about to enter Royal Rumble tomorrow. I used to love Royal Rumble in the WWF days in the 90s. That was one of my favorite wrestling events. He goes, yeah, but he's not talking about that. He's talking about probably family event. Let's read what he's got to say. He goes, hey, Sam, I'm about to enter a Royal Rumble tomorrow at Thanksgiving. I've lived through those years. Lots of unhealthy food. Lived through that. Noisiness, comparing, gloating, and uninspired lives. Yeah, oh, that sounds like the Royal Rumble. As soon as that's over, I'm going back to Cali in my van. Well, child of C, I appreciate you sharing. I appreciate that tip. And I empathize, man. I really do. Like I tell you guys and girls, one of the best parts about being an adult is you get to decide your life. If you live below your means and up to your potential. Because if you still depend on family and don't really go after your best life, it's very hard to say no that you don't want to come to the get-together. Like I say, I walked away from an inheritance because I felt my father was controlling. I cut him a $5,000 check, and then I changed my number. And I don't feel like that's an awesome thing because my father did a lot of things for me, and I'm grateful for him. I don't feel like there's not hatred in my heart, but I knew we were just never going to get past this controllingness. And, look, my other family members, they got issues too. I just thank God for my mom. We're able to have a mature place in our lives where we've been through ups and downs, but We just say, look, when we spend time together, every day is a holiday. We have boundaries because I know there's other people, other siblings. Everyone has a different way to live. I don't want to judge them, but I don't want to be part of that. I've already lived that life, and I just want to do what's healthy for me, and I want to let everyone do what's for them. But I don't feel guilty for saying no. I don't feel guilty for not going to family get-togethers or whatever, because I, as an adult, if I have to do the responsibilities of adulthood, then I'm going to also take the authority of my adulthood and say, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. And if someone don't like it, too bad for that. Let's go back to these live comments. Thank you for your patience. Charles C., Charles, and Jonathan, thank you all for the gracious super chats. Let's go back to these comments. I believe we left off at Verex. Of the 5 years, how long have you had a W-2 for that period? Added up. All 5 years. I still have a W-2. I still have a full-time main job W-2 employed by a private company. I've had that since all the way in my 20s. I've never left the workforce. I've never had a gap in my resume. So all this stuff is 1099 independent contractor work, whether it was DoorDash or YouTube. So if I would have left my W-2 job, I'd be destitute. I would be, I would be living a different life. I wouldn't be fortunate to have nothing. I'd be nervous and scared. Because the reason I'm fortunate to have nothing is because I have skill set. I have a great resume with no gaps. I have financial literacy now that I've done the work on it. I've been living below my means. I mean, I've just been in an extreme state now. So, and I've never been scared to work. In the beginning of my career, my first job was retail, working minimum wage. And then I got into construction as an electrician. I hated it. I went to school for 5 years at night, and I worked in ditches. I worked in fucking refinery plants, paper mills, pharmaceutical plants. I hated it. But I wanted financial independence, and I wanted to build a skill set. And then I studied for electrical license for another 3 years. I had to pass that test. Took 3 times. And I did, like I said, I did nonprofit work. I did a bunch of stuff, man. So, but I've never not had a W-2 form all my adulthood. Never. And don't plan to. Unless, the only time I would leave a W-2 form is if I have income tax returns to show that I have a consistent revenue that exceeds $50,000 a year in side hustles. And I would like it to be more, especially if I'm going to retire early, because I still have to put money into Social Security, into retirement, etc. And that's it. But look, your career gets easier as you get older. Because, guys, I've worked in the trenches. And I've worked at low levels. I've worked night shifts. I've worked at... So to me now, I've got such a resume. Not that I'm gloating, but I'm sharing with you so you know why you should put in the work. For me, it's like... I worked all those years to get to this point where I got more options with my career, but I didn't get to this point so I could quit my career. Now I got more options for more roles. And now is the time to milk the cow, this is why you pay your dues in your 20s and 30s. So in your 40s and 50s, and for me, as long as I could work remote, and that's what I plan to do the rest of my career. Now, if I had to go back in the office, would I? It'd probably be in Florida, but like I say now, that's the one good thing with the coronavirus and in the technology field. It's very easy to work remote now. Easier, especially if you've worked in the field and you have good references and I have good knowledge. So I tell my young people, I know it's not easy because I remember being young. I'm only 41. I remember 21. I remember how it sucked to go to work. But all I can tell you is, you're either going to suck it up or your life going to suck the entire ride, man. You're going to be waiting for UBI, man. It's going to fuck up your life, man. Virex says, Toyota or Honda are only cars worth getting if you're not rich. Not really, because a Toyota and Honda could be just as much as a regular car. A Chevy Spark is cheaper than any Toyota. So the cheapest car is a Chevy Spark. The cheapest car, I think that's one of the cheapest. So, Toyotas and Hondas, everyone in the Nomad community wants a Honda Element or a Toyota, but that's just marketing. I mean, Guys, a reliable car is a reliable car. And, and now just about any new car is going to be about 25 grand. A Chevy Spark you could probably get for under 20. You ain't going to get any Toyota for under 20,000, not brand new. And when you buy used cars, you're taking a crapshoot. So your safety is in your income, not in your vehicle. The biggest falsehood of nomads is if I get a hybrid car and the battery runs, that is my savior. Your savior is your ability to maintain an income, maintain your self-care, and pick up side hustles. Because that is your freedom, not your vehicle. If you can't pay your car insurance, if you can't pay your gas, if you cannot adapt, to me, the vehicle is like the home base. It's the cherry on the top, per se. I mean, obviously you need something, but someone left me a comment the other day like, oh, I got to get a house because I got to have somewhere just in case like something. Yeah, you're right. But guys, if you can't pay for your house, I had a tax lien on my house. So I had to pay off a tax lien. It'll take longer to foreclose on. But if you don't do what you have to do, if you don't get a budget and live below your means, you can't hide from bad habits. And I think a lot of times people think, oh, the nomad life is a way for lazy people to hide. Now, you can live a little bit lazier, but long term, it's actually more vulnerable to the low income. Low income people do better to get a subsidized house and see a social worker. Oh, $5, Maxwell, not the R&B singer, but the YouTuber. $5 super chat. People say that if you're not insanely passionate about a career, you should not pursue it. Do you think that's a dangerous message to the youth? Yes, because most people who say that are motivational speakers on YouTube or in some other platform. So I think that you should go after your passion, but I think you should also be willing to go through pain. You should also be willing to work jobs you don't like, because I don't know anyone that has always worked a job they loved and they're in their best life. No one. And you can always find an exception. Like I always use the example, right? Like here's Michael Jordan. He got cut from his high school basketball team and then he became the best player ever. So some people can look at Elon Musk or Warren Buffett and maybe they say something similar to that. I was a millionaire from PayPal, then I bet everything on Tesla. Guys, there's exceptions to every rule, but chances are you're not going to be Michael Jordan. You're not going to be Elon Musk. Now, maybe you will, but even they got bailed out and even they had to, even they have a lot of negatives. So all I can tell you from my experience as an average person, okay, is that if you are unwilling to do something you don't like, you're never going to go to the gym. You're never going to wake up early. You're never going to do something hard. Your whole life is going to be it's going to be in a recliner mindset. And I just don't see how you get your best. I've seen it. You just don't get your best life out of it. But teach their own, guys. I'm not trying to hurt anyone or judge anyone. Everyone's got to do what they got to do. I'm just sharing my experience. Christina, I love you. You've been gracious to me also. Thank you, Christina. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone who lives in America. I know there's people overseas. They don't celebrate. Love to you also. Christina, just dropping by to leave my affection and respect. Well, mutual respect and appreciation. And thank you, Christina. You've been more than gracious to me. I know that. And love to you. Love to your whole circumstance. We take it one day at a time. We do the best we can each day. Thank you. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Maxwell. Thank you, everyone. Let me go back to these live comments, and I really appreciate everyone being patient. Back to live comments in order. John, I read that. ESP. Hey, ESP. ESP is from Alaska, living in her NV200. She took a promotion recently. ESP, how is the new job going now? You've been on it for 2 weeks with the same company, but a different position. How is the winter going in Alaska? Because I'm sure now it's getting cold. And how do you feel in Thanksgiving? Because I believe your mother and family, they live in other parts of the world, right? Maybe your sister lives in Alaska, but I think your mother lives somewhere else. So let me know how you're doing. Charles, hey, ESP. Thank you again, Charles. Thank you again, Child of C. Thank you again, Jonathan. UPG Vlogs. Hey, Paula. Hey there, Sam and friends. Paula, heart emoji to you. How are you today? Charles. Hey, Paula. Paula. Hey, Charles. Brandon. Evening, UPG. UPG. Been really depressed since I broke up with my boyfriend. Relationships are very hard. Still weaning off black. Yeah, all I can tell you is that I've been in a relationship where it's very hard to get away from, and it could totally destroy all your motivation for life. So there's no easy answer. The answer is you got to really just go for a walk. You got to really keep yourself productive. Because if you're sitting idle, if you're not doing things with your day, this is another reason. Like, let's say UPG Vlogs, and she does trade crypto. Let's say UPG Vlogs is a millionaire, okay, trading crypto. She don't have to work. But if she can't get over unhealthy relationships, and if she doesn't manage her time, she could destroy her life. You know, I guarantee you she's not passionate about leaving her boyfriend. She's not passionate about doing something with her day that doesn't involve him. And, you know, she's broken right now. See, this is the problem. If you only do things you're passionate about, you don't have any discipline. You don't know what it's like to go through the fire of hell and put in the work and depend on the grace of God. You know, it's like you're looking for why am I not passionate about leaving my boyfriend? Why am I not passionate about doing something even though I don't want to do it? I need something to be productive to stay away from this unhealthy person or thing. And this is how, if you look at life and you look at people who don't have something to do, and if they all don't have to work, if they don't manage their time, they destroy their life. Because idle time, guys, it's the devil's playground, man. Let me take a hydration break and take off my hoodie because I am in South Florida. Shout out to you guys. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Love and appreciation to you, and I thank you. If you haven't already, click the thumbs up. Thank you for all the gracious super chats. Leave a comment. You want to be a member? Support the channel. Click that blue join. UPG Vlogs. Hey, Brandon. Brandon says Meadow. Paula, what's Meadow, Brandon? Brandon was saying weaning off. UPG Vlogs, never heard of that term. UPG Vlogs, it's hard as friends are dealers. I don't understand that. What is that? What are you trying to say? Maybe I'm misunderstanding this. Brandon, tampering off gradually. Yeah, look, well, you know, I got mixed emotions with that. I was addicted to cigarettes. I felt like I was addicted to weed when I was young. I don't know. You know, I wasn't like super addicted, but definitely cigarettes. Cigarettes is the most dangerous drug known to mankind. Cigarettes, even today, in 2021, is the number one cause of preventable deaths. And initially, I told myself, well, I only smoke cigarettes on the weekend. Then I told myself, I'll only smoke Black and Milds. And I went back and forth with that. And I prayed about it. I tried. I just went back and forth. Eventually, I just quit. But I can't say that I gradually weaned off. Now, I did gradually get away from eating out every day. I said to myself, well, I'll cook at home 5 days a week and only eat out on the weekends. Then I said, well, I'm not going to have a cheat day. I'm just going to change my lifestyle. So sometimes gradual change is good, and sometimes you need to completely cut something off. You need discernment to figure out what situation you're in, and every situation is different. Back to these live comments. Brandon says, right, UPG Vlogs. The last time I got off heroin, this is UPG Vlogs talking about, she got off heroin, it was the worst thing I've been through. Yeah, I had a family member struggle with that. I remember them going through withdrawal and us taking them to the emergency room, and then they got on meth and still on other stuff today. So, you know, but I don't judge it because I recognize that's somewhat neurological wiring. Like, you know, I think some people are born with certain tendencies that they're more vulnerable to certain things. And some of it also is choice of lifestyle and choice of relationships. But I don't try to judge people because I am not them and they're not me. But as a mature person, I step back from it and I say, well, can I be around this or this person? And as I get older, I say no. But I don't look at it as like, oh, they're the devil. I just say, well, what the lifestyle that they're living just doesn't coexist with mine. So, but I say all that to say, I've seen heroin addicts. I know them, and I empathize. It's a horrible thing. But and I empathize that not everyone has a certain mindset where they're able to just easily get over it. So look, again, what should you do? Well, you gotta get in a support group. Look, you may have to go to a support group until you can build yourself up strong enough. I don't believe, I don't know. That's a tough thing, man. It's like I don't want to just give hot air answers. But bottom line is, if you don't do the work, nothing changes. If you're just going to say, I'm going to do this forever, then you're going to do it forever. If you're going to say, well, I may always struggle with this, but I'm going to go to support groups. I'm only going to have healthy relationships. I'm going to manage my time. I'm not going to be around this thing that triggers me, that thing. You got to put in that work. But everyone's got to figure that out. That's not easy. ESP. Yep. Back in the day, before I decided on my NV200, I wanted a Honda Element. Yeah. Shout out to Nate from Honda. I mean, look, the Honda Element is very similar shape to the Jeep Renegade that I live in. Look, it's a cute car, but I want to remind every nomad out there or someone who wants to live as a nomad, your car does not make your lifestyle. Your habits make your lifestyle. Your car is an accessory. Okay. And so if you remember that, because like I say, I've seen a lot of nomads that they are the biggest consumers. They buy camping gear, they buy cars, they buy gadgets, they get a new RV, and it never stops. And they're living simple, but they've made it complicated. And I understand it's not easy. It's like a discipline. I mean, believe me, you think I haven't been tempted to buy things? I've been very close, but I keep saying, when in doubt, don't buy. And so eventually I buy, but eventually I feel good about when I buy because I've also let a lot of things go by. Maxwell, thank you again. UPG Vlogs. I've already gone through 3 months stint in rehab in 2008. Well, yeah. Well, the first breakup usually doesn't work, and the first rehab doesn't usually work. I don't know anyone that went to one rehab and never did drugs. But, rehab is like Weight Watchers. It's only as good as the work you put into it. Like, I knew people who were on Weight Watchers, and what they would do is they would be very strict on their diet until the weigh-in day. Every week they had a weigh-in day. And then they would weigh in, and then the day after that, they would cheat. And then they would start that cycle again. So here's an example. You go to a doctor, okay, because you're getting prescribed fentanyl or some type of pill. So you don't drink alcohol because you get pee tested. You don't drink alcohol the 24 to 48 hours before you have to go to the doctor and take a pee test. But as soon as you get your prescription for another month, you go right back to alcohol. So it's like, guys, you can go to rehab every day. If you're not going to really work on that habit, you're just trying to pass a pee test, And do I judge that? No, guys, I got empathy. I don't have hatred, but I also have boundaries. And I also have awareness of what's going on. And that's what's going on. Verex. Most of the time you won't be enamored by a job. Well, let me Google the word enamored. I've heard it, but I want to make sure I fully understand it before I comment on this accurately, at least in my opinion. Enamored means to be filled with a feeling of love. Okay. And so he goes, most of the time you won't be infatuated with a job. Yeah, I agree with that. Especially in the beginning of your career, because everything new is hard. And as you do it more, you get more knowledgeable, more experience, it gets easier. Like even things I hated to do, like bending pipe, I sucked at it. But if I did a job where I was bending pipe for 6 months, I got better, and then I felt better about going to work. Because it's scary to go to work when you're intimidated by the work. Then when I got into the corporate world, I was intimidated by some of the infrastructure we were managing, some of the paperwork I had to do. So I had to do it to feel more confident to be on a conference call, to write a procedure, to write a report. Everything that you initially do is scary, whether it's a job, sex, or whatever, right? So, but as you do things more, you get more knowledge, you get more experience, and you get more empowered. And that's why I tell you, don't drop out of the workforce until you can retire. Because the longer you stay out of the workforce, the less experience, the less confidence, and the algorithm goes into like very much a downward spiral. And then you grasp on the risky investments because you say, oh, I'm going to try to make money off this, and then you lose whatever money you have. Look, when you're in investments, if you have a main job and you're mitigating your risk with investments, they're cherry on top. But when you have no job and you need investments in order to survive, ooh, you're going to destroy your mental health and your money back. I've been there. Well, I've never been there where I've never had a main job. If I didn't have a main job, I would be bankrupt. So and that's why I always tell you guys, don't quit your main job, man, until you got at least 3 to 5 years of tax returns showing that you have sustainable income. Never forget that. Charles, I do at Maxwell. Christina, thank you again. Charles, hey, Christina, UBG Vlogs. I've been self-employed. I worked in the music business for years. Yeah, I mean, I'm self-employed. I've been self-employed, but most of my money, the majority of my money has come from being employed by someone else. There are very few people, statistically, most businesses fail. Statistically, there's some exceptions. But statistically, most people are going to lose money being self-employed or not make as much. And most people statistically will make more money being a W-2 working for someone else. That's statistical fact. Now, again, there's exceptions, and you may be an exception, but I at least want people to understand the risk and the statistical fact. Verex, does THC help with that at UBG Vlogs? Talking about, some people that may help, but I'll let her answer. I don't want to speak for her. UBG Vlogs, I believe that you must enjoy what you do. Well, only sometimes. That's why you can't get out of an unhealthy relationship, because you only look to do that which makes you happy. And that's why you're addicted to drugs. You're addicted to this guy. And even if you have money, you haven't developed the muscle of doing things you don't want to do. See, you should not, even though you want to do heroin, you shouldn't do it. Even though you want to go back to your ex, you shouldn't do it. Until you develop the habit, the discipline of self-control, of not doing what you may want to do, you're not going to enjoy what you do. You got to do some things you hate. And that's just cold hard fact. I love you. I respect you, UBG Vlogs. But that's just cold hard fact. Brandon, that's awesome. Go, girl. Charles, I worked jobs I was passionate about and still had to push myself to do it. I totally agree with that. Charles, you very much understand a lot of aspects of life. Like I said, Charles, I really want to encourage you to continue to upload videos about your philosophies on life and reference your experience like you just did there. Because your testimony, your word of your testimony, and then your perspective helps to give people relatability. And keep it simple when you're sharing. Make the video title very clear and a little catchy. And you're going to reach people, man. Subscribe to Charles' channel if you're not, as well as UBG Vlogs, Cartoon Mark, ESP, all my YouTubers in here. UBG Vlogs. Yes, Verex, I smoke as well as vape concentrate. Verex, nice. UBG Vlogs. Me too, Charles. I traveled the world with major bands, private jets, 5-star hotels. Verex, a job is a job. Well, it is. But again, as you work a job, you can develop yourself, get a job that more or less fits something you enjoy more. And on the side, you can cultivate your passion. And through that, you've developed skill sets and you develop discipline. And then you can figure out what you want to do as you have more options. ESP, everything is going well with the new position. Sometimes I'm busy as can be. That'll get easier. It'll get easier as you go. Other times I have free time to work on long-term projects. I'm still learning some things about the management side. The first 6 months to 18 months of a new position are hard or harder than your old. But after you overcome that, it gets better, a lot better. So hang in there, Charles. And that's why a lot of people don't take a promotion. Why? They don't want to go through the pain of adapting. It's like, yeah, I would love a promotion. Well, not too many people would. Why? Because it means that it's going to be a little bit hard initially. You're not going to enjoy it. But long term, there's going to be a higher reward. And you're going to enjoy life more. You're going to enjoy your job more. But not if you deny yourself that discipline going through the pain. Good comment, ESP. You'll figure it out, ESP. You're a smart woman. Charles, being kind gets me passionate about life, not my career. Well, like I say, Charles, compassion and kindness is one of your greatest gifts, the greatest gift. But also, you have CAT experience, you have art experience. Without your experiences of things that you're not passionate about, you would just be a person that talks about passion, talks about kindness and passion. No one really wants to hear about passionate and kindness without a testimony. Your testimony comes from your CAT experience. Your testimony comes from your Thanksgiving experience. Your testimony comes from your selling your house experience. The things that you didn't like. You overcome by the word of your testimony. And the blood of the Lamb, okay? If you believe in that, I believe in that. So, when you do things, okay, and you put yourself in a sacrificial cross position, okay, you overcome only because you've done things that you weren't in love with. You hated them. There's a terrible suffering ahead of me. Okay. So, that's what Jesus said. Jesus, they had the movie about Jesus called The Passion. But if you read the scriptures, Jesus said, there's a terrible suffering ahead of me. I got to take the promotion. I got to sell my house. I got to move. You don't got to go on the cross, but you may got to do some of these things. And Peter said to Jesus, don't do a job you don't love. Don't go on the cross. Don't take the promotion. Don't move. Stay here. And you know what Jesus said to Peter? Get behind me, Satan. That was his right-hand man. If you have any friend or family member in your life that says, only work a job you love. Don't do this if you don't like it. Don't move here because of hurricanes. I want to tell him, get behind me, Satan. Because if you're unwilling to go through some pain, and I'm not saying you should hurt yourself or put yourself in a very dangerous position, put the message in context. But I'm saying in a principle message. And I believe most of spiritual lessons are more about, in an extreme way, telling you about a principle. The principle is, and even Elon Musk said that having your own business is like eating glass and looking into the abyss. It's so much pain that, people don't go, so people think that having your own business is a way that you don't have to deal with a manager. I want to tell you guys, when you have your own business, every customer is your manager. Okay? So I've had my own business. So I want to tell you that it's good to go through a season of developing yourself so that you can get to a higher season of overcoming and living greatly in your passion and being stronger for it. Okay, that's the message. Let's go back to these live comments. And let me tie it into the main message tonight. And the less materialism you have, the less rooms you have to clean, the less cars you have to maintain, the more budget conscious you are, the easier it is to take a job. The easier it is to overcome adversity when you have more of a buffer. But when you're living above your means, or when you don't have nothing but you're not working. Look, if you have nothing but you're not working, you're living above your means because you don't have an income. So, it's like you can live above your means and live in a car. How? Not work. Or work a job that's pays so little that, you're not really getting the most out of your life. And don't forget, most YouTubers, most of them, guys, if it wasn't for YouTube, including the biggest ones, Bob Wells, even that guy Jake in LA, all these people, guys, Nomadic Fanatic, these people are not living on very low income. If Bob Wells believes that low income is the best way, why did he separate from the person his first YouTube channel was on, create his own, capitalize off it, and then leverage the RTR, hire a personal assistant? All his businesses are in an LLC. He gets paid from the nonprofit. Why would he do that? Because his best life is improving his career, not just living in a van. That's where you don't understand that Bob Wells is living his best life because he maximized his potential as well as mitigated his liability by living in a van. He may be passionate about living in a van, but you know what he's really passionate about? Maximizing his potential. Oh, we got 2 super chats in the house. $5 super chat, Brandon. Thank you for creating this phrase in what you do. It's truly appreciated. Well, Brandon, thank you for that tip. Thank you for your positive attitude. I want to encourage you and everyone that has a positive attitude. You don't have to always be the smartest person. In my experience, the smartest person does not always get ahead. It's the person who can get along with other people, be a little bit more positive, and be consistent. The message of hope is, even if you're not that smart, if you have a positive attitude, you stay out of trouble, and you show up, you're going to go farther than most people. Charles, $9.99 super chat, fire and trophy emoji. Charles, may Thanksgiving in Tampa be everything that Thanksgiving in Michigan wasn't for you. Not that you have hatred towards Michigan. Not that we speak down to anyone in Michigan. But we speak up to the fact that you made the decisions to go after your best life, to change your environment, and you did that through doing some things you didn't want to do. And now I see you. Now you're trying to cultivate your life and trying to refine your life where you start to allocate some more time and resources to developing your passion. But it is through your pain that you have great testimony and great knowledge. So God bless you. Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Charles. Thank you, everyone, for being patient tonight. Let me go back to these live comments. Apologize for being late on them. Where are we at? I believe we left off at UPG Vlogs. So true, Sam. Right now, I'm putting effort into finding land and building a house. Yeah, I would put off effort into that. Why? Because you're struggling with a bad relationship. You're very emotional. And, you got a drug issue. And there's no judgment. I would work on separating from your boyfriend. And just, you may struggle with drugs your entire life. But, just at least see what you can do to improve a little bit there. And I would not focus on buying a house until you're kind of in that zone, because buying a house is not going to solve your boyfriend or drug problem. And that is your problem, not your housing, because you're a very smart woman. So just think about that, but do what you want. $5 super chat, move forward. Love that tag name. Don't let devils like Joe Rogan and Elon pollute your mind. Well, I don't think they're devils, but I'll continue to read your comment and make you do irrational things. Security fuels your passion, not the other way around. Well, I definitely understand the context of your message, and I appreciate your message, and I thank you for the gracious tip. I definitely agree with the context of his message, which is, yes, don't let people who are at this elite level tell you that you don't have to do things to get ahead. Now, don't forget Joe Rogan. He worked construction. Don't forget Joe Rogan was a TV show host on the show The Fear Factor. And he would have people swallow camel's sperm. A lot of people don't know Joe Rogan was he was a gopher on a TV show making people swallow the bowls of a dead cow. Look up Fear Factor Joe Rogan. And Elon Musk got bailed out from the government, or else Tesla would have went bankrupt. Barack Obama bailed out Tesla because he thought it would be long-term good for society to have another sustainable source of energy. And Elon Musk, if you listen to him, he said, look, we were this close away from everything folding up. They got a government grant. But here's the positive with Joe Rogan. I will say that Joe Rogan does a great job in bringing people from all walks of life, all political spectrums, all backgrounds, and he lets them talk, and he is very fair and compassionate on giving people a platform, even that, and he has a level of neutrality, even though I don't agree with some things, that even some way I look up to him on that, and I learn from him from that. Okay. And with regards to Elon, even though he got bailed out from the government, he came to America as an immigrant parents. He came from South Africa to Canada and then to America. He developed PayPal. I think we've all used PayPal. That has helped society with digital banking. And and electric cars have helped. It's going to help transition to another source of energy. And he took over NASA, and he brought back a lot of jobs to parts of Florida and parts of the world, and he reinvented or recultivated energy around space travel, which is healthy in forms. We need satellites, we need things. So while I totally agree with moving forward context of his comments, I heard the context, I also want to acknowledge that Joe Rogan and Elon Musk do provide some benefit to society, some skills that I don't have. If everyone was like me and no one was Joe Rogan or Elon Musk, the world wouldn't be as good. So, it's like everyone plays a part. And that's why, like I said early on in this live feed, my way is not the only way. But I'm sharing some things through my experience. But I understand your context, and thank you again moving forward. Thank you again, Charles, Brandon, everyone. Let's go back to these live comments. Okay, UBG Vlogs. I'm with you on that, Charles. Hey, Paula. UBG Vlogs. Thanksgiving means nothing to me since we don't celebrate in Scotland. Yeah. So again, Thanksgiving is mainly the United States of America holiday. Why? Well, they said because Christopher Columbus came from Europe, came to America, and when he came to America, the Native Americans, and a lot of them, it looks like, were from Mexico, and there's a lot of that culture. So the Native Americans occupied the United States of America, but there was tribalism. Okay, there were different tribes, and there were like human sacrifices. Some people think the Native Americans were like these angels. Guys, they were just regular people too. They were killing each other, human sacrifices, tribal warfare. But Christopher Columbus came from Europe as a Christian, and he found this new land for economic reasons. It was not sanctioned on religion. It was sanctioned. He was funded, I believe, by the government and investors to find a better trade route to the West, from my understanding. So it was an economic venture as well as an exploration adventure. And then when he got to America, he began to find certain areas, but the way the story goes was that him and the pilgrims, the people he was with, they went through a season that they almost didn't survive, and during harvest time, this is a little bit convoluted, I don't know the exact thing, but during harvest time, during Thanksgiving, the Native Americans broke bread with Christopher Columbus, and some stories say that they saved Christopher Columbus and the pilgrims because they were struggling. I think that they caught some diseases because they traveled to this foreign land. Like, don't forget now, when you travel to Thailand, you travel to other places, you got to have certain vaccines, not just coronavirus. But even before the coronavirus, like a lot of people don't know, if you travel across certain parts of the world, you have to have a vaccine to go in that country. That's before the coronavirus. So Christopher Columbus, they had no vaccines. So they came here. I think they got sick. I think they were struggling to get food. There was no Walmarts. There was no Wawas. And so in some ways, the Native Americans helped Christopher Columbus to survive, and they broke bread on this harvest day. And again, these are some general things. You got to read the whole story. But eventually, Christopher Columbus proclaimed that this land is now his. And he kind of forced the Native Americans to convert to Christianity and give up their land. Now, not just him from Europe, there was also Spaniards. Spaniards, I think, originally owned Florida. Florida was one of the first settled areas. St. Augustine, Florida, is the oldest city in the United States of America, which is in Northeast Florida. In Florida, even more than New Jersey, there are a lot of Native American presence, meaning a lot of the towns, like Okeechobee, a lot of these towns, the rivers, Indian River, a lot of these towns are named after Native Americans because they had a heavy presence here. And maybe part of it is the Mexican culture is very close. So all I can tell you is we're still thankful for America because, again, you could still be thankful for America and you could still be thankful for what you have. And you could still understand the Native Americans weren't perfect. Christopher Columbus wasn't perfect. No country is perfect. You can name any country, and I can point out parts in their history where there was genocide and murder. Any country. And that's what allows us to celebrate being thankful. Okay. Aaron, $5 super chat. Thank you, Aaron. Thankful for you and your message. Thank you, Aaron. Holiday wishes to you and your mom. Thank you. Pray, Aaron, thank you. And thank you to all my moms, all my fathers too, but my mom's out there. Aaron, I'll pray for you. I know you've done a great job. It sounds like what your sons. Pray for my mom. And she's still, just pray for all the parents out there and the children. Everyone's got their own story, but thank you, Aaron. Very gracious of you. Thank you. And I got a lot of respect for you and all that you do as a social worker, therapist, and a mother. Thank God for the salt of the earth, the good people that use their gifts. And I thank you, Aaron. Thank you very much. Back to these live comments. Let me take a hydration break real quick, guys. What Eddie Murphy say? I know you didn't come to pay to see me drink water, but this is me. Remember that Eddie Murphy Raw? That was a good stand-up, man. Where was I at now? Hopefully, if I miss a comment, please type it again. Don't get offended. I'm very late on these comments, guys. Okay. ESP. Both my mother and sister live far away. My sister is in a different country. But with technology, thank God for technology, we communicate quite frequently. FaceTime is awesome. Yeah, I WhatsApp my mom, and I agree with you, ESP, is that, remember, 100 years ago, you would have to send a telegram to someone and may not even get to them for months or years later. You could have someone in your family die and you wouldn't even know. Thank God for the modern era in technology. And remember, during the Industrial Revolution, they said, what are we going to do with all the people who work on the farms? We're going to lose all these jobs. And remember, the economy got even better. And the economy now, even people who don't like certain things about the economy now, people who complain about the economy now in 2021, I can guarantee you, if you put them in 1921 or 1821, these people wouldn't survive one day. Because in the modern era, everyone throws out food. Everyone picks from jobs. People pick what they accept, what they don't. People choose a car. People choose a phone. People choose what they're going to order. People choose what they're going to watch. People choose what they're going to wear. All those choices were not possible 100 or 200 years ago. So, as much as people get down on world politics, the powers to be, the Federal Reserve, I remember when I was watching a trading YouTube channel about stock trading, there was this one guy from Europe. He was like, man, as dark sometimes as the Federal Reserve is, you got to remember, if it wasn't for the Federal Reserve, we'd all be farmers. And as much as there may be some underhand stuff, the world is better today economically for the average masses than it was 100 years ago, and it's true. Now, certainly there'll people argue with that. Who's going to argue with that? Someone who owned a plantation? Because there was only a couple elitists and everyone else was dirt poor. It doesn't matter what background you're from. Most people are dirt poor. Remember, in the 1930s, during the Great Depression, when the government was trying to stimulate the economy, they built the Golden Gate Bridge. People traveled from all over the country to be a worker on the Golden Gate Bridge, and they would wait for someone to die working on the bridge so they can take their job. That's how, and it was, you know how hard it was to travel across the country? There was no cars, there was no airplanes like that. You got a horse carriage, and you took you weren't making YouTube videos about traveling across Route 66. You could lose your life traveling across the country 100 years ago. Now, you're self-parking at Walmart. Now people complain that, now we can't park anywhere. They're against us nomads. You wouldn't survive one day traveling 100 years ago. Okay, so, guys, come on, man. Good comment, UBG Vlogs. I tried to talk to my boyfriend that a relationship is two-way street. You know there's no talking to someone you're on two separate pages with. It's like me talking to a drug addict saying, just say no. Hey, Paula, if I tell you to say, just say no, what does that mean to you? So you remember that when you tell your boyfriend, let's make this a reciprocal relationship. He ain't hearing that. Why? Because people do what they want to do when they're ready to do it. And when someone's not ready to do it, you could talk till your eyes are blue. You can go to counseling. You can go on date night. You can go on fentanyl night. But ain't shit going to change but the day on the calendar. So be very careful. UBG Vlogs. That's awesome, ESP. UBG Vlogs. I FaceTimed my sister in Scotland yesterday. It was her birthday. That's amazing that you can FaceTime someone across the world. UBG Vlogs. Rest in peace, Steve Jobs. Okay. And UBG Vlogs. My brothers. Who is Steve Jobs? A Syrian. His father was a Syrian refugee. Came to America. And Steve Jobs went bankrupt. Got fired from his own company. Had to get a loan. Did a lot of things he didn't like to do. Worked a lot of hours. Got sick. Didn't do everything Didn't do everything perfect. He wasn't a good family person from a lot of testimony. So, was a tough man to work for a lot of people. So, you can't say that he was perfect. But you can say that someone of immigrant descent came to America, put in the work, didn't wait for UBI, and made life better for humanity. The smartphone makes life better for humanity. And you may not be Steve Jobs. I may not be Steve Jobs. I've been an average person as far as like in an average working class, middle class. I spent time in lower class. I spent time in upper class. But I would say on average, grew up in middle class type environment. My grandfather came from Italy. He was a janitor. My father was an electrician. I got into IT engineering. My mother was a stay-at-home mom until my parents got divorced. Then she worked at a supermarket. She worked 2-3 jobs. She sung at church. So I can tell you from an average Joe perspective that You don't have to be Steve Jobs to make a great impact. Where would the world be if there weren't electricians, if there weren't janitors, if there weren't house cleaners, if there weren't supermarket workers? But where would the world be if no one did anything? You wouldn't be watching me. There'd be no electricity. There'd be no smartphone. So remember that in life is that I don't know what you're called to do. Just like we all have to figure that out. I'm just saying you figure that out by getting rid of a lot of stuff that you don't need. But even if you have stuff, you got to do something. And you got to push yourself a little bit. UBG Vlogs, my brother never stay in touch with my family is totally messed up. Well, I can understand. To be fair, I love you and I respect you, Paula, UPG Vlogs. But to be fair, because I'm in a similar situation in my own family, if you were my sister and you were still dealing with drugs and you were in an unhealthy relationship, I would still love and respect you and text you from time to time, but I would have a lot of boundaries. Why? Because you're in a very unhealthy situation, and it would negatively affect me to have you seriously in my life. Now you're in my life, you're part of Live Cheat, and I thank you for that. I respect you. And I'm speaking out of respect, not out of disrespect. But I want to be honest with you that you have a lot of unhealthy behaviors, and so you got to have a lot of boundaries, or else, just like you have to have boundaries with your boyfriend. You got to really cut your boyfriend off. If not, you're really going to destroy your life. So you got to be very careful. UBG Vlogs. When I've ever gone to NA, I guess that's like anonymous something. Always end up on a 13 step. Yeah, I don't know the steps. I know some people, like I've heard of them, the 12 steps or whatever they are. Some of them may be good principles. I think some of them are. But really, it's about just, look, take accountability. Yes, there's a higher power, or if you want to believe in that, you don't have to. But you got to do the work. But again, I empathize that everyone's brain is different. So I don't want to just say, oh, it's easy. It's not easy. But all I can tell you is how you're living now is not easy either. But I believe in the grace of God. Just try to get through each day and try to do a little better as best you can. Back to live comments. Brandon, I'm in treatment now, working it out one day at a time. I appreciate you sharing, Brandon. UBG Vlogs, you're in treatment, Brandon? Oh, $5 super chat. Thank you, guys. Great. Oh, my God. We got someone in here who made history. Ulysses was the first ever super chat I ever got on this channel. Jessie O was my first ever member, and I prayed for Jessie today. I know she's going through that house. But Ulysses was the first ever super chat. Here's a guy, positive attitude, got a beautiful son. And let's see what he's got to say. Love to you, brother. I'll never forget you, man. He goes, happy Thanksgiving, man. Right back to you. Sam, be safe during the holiday, brother. Thank you, man. Much love also to you. Always loving the videos. Thank you, Ulysses. Forgive me for saying that wrong. If I do, you know what it is. I know his tag name used to be Professional Window Cleaners. He had a side business with cleaning windows, and then he had got a job at a hospital. I'm not sure where you're at now, but I want to tell you I thank you. I pray for you and your son and your situation. I would encourage everyone out there, remember your environment matters. The climate, the culture, the economics. Remember your positive attitude and your consistency will take you further than a lot of other things. You can get a job transfer with a positive attitude and consistency. You can move to a better area with a positive attitude and consistency. You can take a promotion with a positive attitude and consistency. But you can get a degree. You can graduate from the 13-step program. You can do a lot of things, but if you don't have a positive attitude and consistency, it's going to be a lot harder to accomplish things. So it's not easy though, guys. I mean, I understand this. But when I think about that, Ulysses, I think about you. So I thank you, man. Thank you. I don't forget you. All right, back to these comments. Thank you, everyone. Been very gracious to me tonight. Let me make sure I go in order here. Brendan. Peyton Nolan. Hey, Peyton Nolan. I'm sorry, I didn't see you yet. Peyton Nolan, how are you, brother? Gotta keep going to NA for support after rehab. Yeah, I agree. And I was thinking about you also today, Peyton Nolan. You know, Peyton Nolan has epilepsy, suffers from seizures, and what's really tough, and I can empathize, is that, you know, because he's got to go through some things, he sometimes dealing with people is very hard for him, and I can understand that. Now, my mom dated someone with epilepsy, and I know someone right now with epilepsy, so I understand it. But I want to tell you, the guy my mom dated that had epilepsy, he was a firefighter. Yeah, I don't know, he did it. Oh, Ulysses, another $5 super chat. You just made my son Jaden, shout to you. Smile when you called him beautiful. God bless you, Jaden. Love to you, and you got a great father there. He just got over a small cold. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Jaden. Jaden, love to you, appreciation and respect to you. Love, appreciation, and respect to your father. Remember, a positive attitude and consistency will take you very far in life. It is true, Jaden, you're going to run across some things in the world that aren't fair and some people that aren't nice. And I'm sorry for that. We all got to go through that. I wish it wasn't the way. But if you keep fighting and depend a little bit on the grace of God, you're also going to meet some good people, and you're going to be able to do good for yourself if you stay on the right road. And when you fall, you get back up. Because if you stay down, the world will keep kicking you. So just do the best you can, and that's all we can do. So shout out to you both, man. Thank you again. Very gracious. Love, man. Love and respect. Back to live comments. Peyton Nolan. Yeah, so Peyton Nolan, man. Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. I remember, you know, when my mom got divorced, she was like, I'll never get married again, which I understand. She only dated one other time, like when she was in her 50s, when we were all like out of high school. And she dated a guy, you know, maybe he was even a little bit mentally retarded, but I know he had a form of epilepsy because he died of a seizure. But I remember the guy was like, man, he was like a very nice guy, man. This guy was like super nice, man. But I remember he was a firefighter. So he was able to do something. It was amazing. He was a good guy. Rest in peace, man. He was a good guy. I can't say anything bad about the guy. Where are we at? Peyton Nolan. Where was Peyton Nolan? Yep. UBG Vlogs. May I ask what for, Brandon? Brandon? Black and stuff. What does the term black and stuff mean? Is that heroin? I don't know what that means. UBG Vlogs. Hey, Nolan. Terrible at NA. Don't have time for NA these days. Aaron. Hello, all. Aaron, thank you again. Love to you and your sons. Hope they're doing well. Thank you, and happy Thanksgiving to you. UBG Vlogs. You're getting off black too? I got to Google that. I don't know what that means. UBG Vlogs. Hey there, Aaron. Brandon. Yes, second time, first time clean 4 years. Yeah, like what I've learned, you know, growing up with family members and people I know with addictions is it's very hard mentally, again, when you have a winning streak of a lot of days or years sober in whatever drug you struggle with, but then you backslide. But all I can tell you is, look, even if you backslide yesterday, if you get through today, that's one day. It's just one day at a time. Don't worry about being the most days sober. Just try to fight one day at a time. Get through each day. That's the best. Keep it simple. Keep it simple as best you can. UBG Vlogs. That's awesome, Brendan. Aaron. I hope everyone who celebrates has a nice Thanksgiving. I agree. Always be thankful. That's a blessing. And that everyone else has a fantastic tomorrow. Aaron, thank you for your positive attitude and your consistency, because I know you apply it in your real life. Love to you. Oh, man, I got a lot to be thankful for. Another super chat, $10. Bob in Maine, thank you. Thank you, Bob in Maine. Your video last week about storage and getting rid of stuff motivated me while I was sorting stuff to get rid of. Well, yeah, Bob in Maine, thank you for that. And I want to tell you that I will never forget when I was starting my downsizing, the first layer was easy. What does that mean? Like the stuff that you acquire there's always some stuff that, yeah, I give this to free will. I'll throw this out. It's like, it's very easy. You know, you don't need it. You don't want it. Then you get a little bit harder. And then what you start doing is you move stuff from one closet to another. Then you move stuff maybe from the closet to the garage, and you don't really get rid of it. You know, you hit a wall. You know, it's like you stop eating out every day, but you're still eating too many Doritos at night. You hit a wall. And to go to another level, I remember sitting in my closet, and I had a bunch of underwear that had their tags on, a bunch of clothes that were brand new. And I would put them in a garbage bag, and then I would tie the garbage bag, but I couldn't throw the garbage bag out. And I would end up putting the clothes back in the closet. And I remember being in that closet like, damn, why can't I let this go? Because, like, I had to see, because I couldn't visualize throwing out those clothes, still having the house, and not knowing what I was going to do after a house. Martin Luther King said, faith is taking the first step without seeing the entire staircase. So if you know that you want to downsize, that you want to move, that you eventually want to sell, or that you just want less stuff, you may not be able to see your life without that stuff. But as long as you are doing things responsibly, you got to take the first step, even if you can't see the entire staircase. And I want to tell you that throwing stuff out is responsible. Why? Because 90% of what you own, you never use. And there's a Walmart everywhere. And in life, your health, your ability to produce an income, your ability to have a level of integrity, we're all flawed. Those are the things that give you things to be fortunate. Your stuff, and I've been immature, I like stuff. I got it. So again, life is, you got to go through the seasons. But as you mature, having nothing, guys, as far as materialistic stuff, that's a win. Or at least having less than most people have. So thank you, Bob Main. Keep pushing forward. Remember, when in doubt, throw it out. Remember, don't get storage bins. Get a 3 mil trash bag and throw it out. If you're thinking about, will you need it? You don't need it. Throw it out. Good job. Love to you, and I appreciate that. Bob Main, I'm not moving stuff around. I'm moving to Lakeland, Florida. Well, Bob Main, one of my best friends growing up, his family is from Lakeland, Florida. And he grew up in Florida. He moved to New Jersey for more career options. This was like, 40, 50 years ago or whatever. Now the world's a different place. And he eventually came back to Lakeland. So Lakeland is like central west Florida, closer to, by Tampa a little bit more, or, in between Tampa and Orlando kind of. And so what I could tell you is, yes, I've been through that area. Like I said, good friend, family from there. So I believe that when you're ready to move, you should keep you're not going to need much. Don't be in a rush to buy something. Because the one thing about Florida, and I've went through this myself, you want to buy a house so that you have a spot in Florida. And while I empathize with that, because I recognize that living in a car is not an option for people. And living in an RV is not desirable for people. And sometimes not even economically. So, but I want to tell you this. If you can't afford to rent for a year, you can't afford to move. So now maybe you have a house, maybe you don't. But if you can, live on less for a little bit. Because when you eventually figure out if you want to stay in Florida, I don't know your experience in Lakeland, then you're kind of like really doing it the right way. Because there are a lot of people that come to Florida and they don't do it in order, and they end up hating Florida because they didn't do things in order. And I almost fell into that trap. And so like I say, I empathize. But oh, and Bob Maine joined the membership. Damn it, Bob and Maine, thank you. And I guess you're from Maine. So I'm from New Jersey, which is closer to Maine than Florida, and we're both close to Canada. So thank you again for the super chats. Thank you for joining the live chat access. Look forward to connecting with you. Let me go back to the live comments. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Where are we at now? I think we're getting close to getting caught up. Yeah, Brandon, UBG Vlogs. That's awesome, Brandon. Aaron. Oh, yeah, I read this. Thank you again. Charles, showing some appreciation and showing some commitment. He's been with me for 10 months. Any member, I think there's an option where you can show how long you've been a member. He's been a member for 10 months. It's almost a year. Gratitude in my heart, brother. And like I said, respect for your skill set and your compassion. And thank you, brother, for the words of encouragement that with in your chat there. And thank you for everything, Charles. Thank you. Truly appreciate it. UBG Vlogs was saying that let's see here. No, Aaron was the last one I left off on, right? Oh man, I'm not that close to being caught up. Here we go. UBG Vlogs. I'll always do drugs in moderation. I can understand that. I won't speak in judgment to that because I can understand that mindset. So obviously, all I can tell you is love and respect because I understand. I do. But obviously, just remember that if you've accepted that, there's always going to be consequences to that. But I do understand the mindset behind that. So love to you. Brandon, I won't give up. I respect that, and I understand, and I think that's I understand that, and I think that's a good way to be. I do. Charles, thanks, Aaron. UBG Vlogs. I'm just doing cryptocurrency trading. Love to you. UBG Vlogs. Thanks, Aaron. You have a wonderful day too. Thank you for your positive attitude, Paula. Thank you again for that $5 super chat. Brandon, I just got into crypto training, and I'm literally training, I'm not going to say this right, primarily training penny stocks and crypto on South Florida. I'm trying to learn how it's hard. Look, penny stocks are the most volatile, risky investment. Crypto, very similar. And so that's a lot of risk. And then you add that there's a drug problem, more risk. Then you add you're putting a lot of strain on your mental health. Then you add if you don't have a side job and you're not sober, you're just really, that's an uphill battle. Are there exceptions that can beat that? Sure. But I just want to caution you that you have a lot of volatility, a lot of high risk, and you have very little stability. So eventually you're going to have a major failure. So I'm not saying you can't do the things you love. I'm saying try to add some more stability to mitigate your risk so that you can balance your life and be a little bit in a healthier place. ESP is one of my longest members. That's fact. 17 months, almost 2 years. Thank you for showing me that. I believe Jesse O and Sabrina may be only some of the longer ones. I want to do a live feed and just acknowledge all the members because there's some that have been members for a long time and they never even come in. They just like showing support. And my man Fred, he renewed. I saw that. So, you know, ESP and all my members, especially the original ones, but everyone who watched in the background too. I mean, I think you guys know who watched me long enough and put me in context. There's no doubt about it, I have gratitude because I understand that I could do the work, but you still need to connect with people and you still need, reciprocal. So thank you. That's all I can tell you. And I appreciate you, ESP. Appreciate all you've shared. Back to the live comments. UBG Vlogs. That's brilliant, Brandon. Let me know if you want any tips. Aaron, at Nick. If he's still licensed, maybe it will be easier for him. Yeah, I missed something with that, and I think he retracted. UPG Vlogs. But Erin has a lot of wisdom. She's a social worker and therapist. So, when you guys hear advice from Erin, just know that she has some insight on the system. And it'd be wise to at least, listen and then verify. But, that's a big inside scoop when you know someone that knows the system. UBG Vlogs. It was hard leaving the music business. Yeah, it's a very addictive business, very passionate, emotional business. UBG Vlogs. It's more or less being contracted by bands. Yeah, it's like independent contractor, but very volatile business, music. But that's why drug use and music industry, they're very intertwined because it's a very volatile, high risk. Your nervous system, music, drugs, trading, these things have a sex. These things have a psychological effect on our neurological windings, our nerve windings, our neurological path, or the nerves in our mind and how our mind works. When that's like the rock star, drugs, music, gambling, sex. These are all things that make the bells go off on our slot machines. That's why slot machines have bells and whistles, because it plays off your neurological windings. It makes you very, and that's like when I see a beautiful girl, I admire and I respect her beauty, but I also discipline myself. I said, Sam, these are your neurological windings. Respect the inspiration, the emotion, but also discipline the emotion, filter it, check it. Same thing with a trade. If I see an opportunity, I say, Sam, are you rushing? Or is it a mitigated risk? Back in the day, it's, oh my God, buy, sell. When you're on a car lot, same thing. The discipline of minimalism, the discipline of living below your means, the discipline of not taking on too much risk in investments, the discipline of getting away from cigarettes, drugs, alcohol, the discipline of getting away from relationships is not setting off your bells and whistles of your slot machine. Your mind is a slot machine, and you want to pull the handle and let the bells and whistles go off. But remember, sometimes in life, you got to unplug the slot machine. Why? Because remember, most people play slots, they end up destitute. But I'm not saying you can't play slots. I'm not saying you can't take risk. I'm not trying to say you can't have sex or relationships or whatever. I'm saying you got to be very careful. This is a very volatile thing. Brandon, yes, I would love tips. Instagram name, UBG Vlogs? UBG Vlogs. That's her Instagram. She wrote _ yep, on Instagram name. Okay. No, but she's mainly on Twitter, she's saying. I apologize. She gave the tag name. UBG Vlogs. Twitter is the place to be, Brandon. Brandon, okay, I'll make an account. I'll find you. Thanks. UBG Vlogs. Yes, Brandon, I have Zordon, a horse avatar. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Brandon, awesome. UBG Vlogs. If you look at all the people I follow on Twitter, just follow them too. UBG Vlogs. And you can DM me, Brandon. Brandon, thank you again for that tip. Charles, thank you again for that tip. Love to you both. Keep pushing forward on your journeys. UBG Vlogs. I'm into all the micro caps right now. Been making great money. Brandon, I am very excited to talk to you. UBG Vlogs. Awesome, Brandon and Charles. Charles, excellent word, brother. Thank you, man. UBG Vlogs. Me too, Brandon. UBG Vlogs. I can't stand drama. I got into a huge argument with Ozzy, my gay assistant, last night. You got an assistant? I imagine. I love you. Thank you again. Move forward for that gracious tip. And you did leave a good word, though. I recognize what you were saying, that we can't we have to put everything in perspective from everyone, people who are famous and everyone else. So let's see here. UBG Vlogs. We were driving and he was screaming at me not to overtake a cop. Brandon, sorry about that last night. Sounds crazy. UBG Vlogs. However, we argued to stop fighting. It was a waste of energy. Waste of energy? I don't like that. UBG Vlogs. It was Brandon. I was doing 70 miles per hour. Brandon, that's a good way to compromise. UBG Vlogs. I thought my dash camera would catch it, but it wasn't on. UBG Vlogs. Absolutely, Brandon. UBG Vlogs. Brandon. Have you heard of Huff? Brandon, no. UBG Vlogs. That's the crap I'm smoking. Weaning myself, and I'm doing pretty good. UBG Vlogs. Basically, it's black in a crumb-like consistency. Is this what you guys are calling black? So black is a drug. What is it? Brandon, what is it? Yeah, I don't know what it is. Brandon, okay, mine is Goya? Goa? UBG Vlogs. It's got this sticky, yucky stuff in it. I much prefer the black with the vinegar taste. UBG Vlogs, probably the same shit. Brandon, haha. UBG Vlogs, you smoke black, Brandon? Only, thank God. Aaron, thank you again, Aaron. Love to you. Paula, so many people threaten to expose my drug use. I'm definitely not new news. Paul also, I'm scared to slam black. I guess this is the new drug. I never heard of this. Brandon, really, that's awful. There's a lot of hope to save many here. Brandon, I don't even want to know. I know myself, and it would be bad. Paula, Bank of America shut down my bank account because of crypto exchanges. You got a lot going on, Paul. I'll tell you, that's amazing. Been with Bank of America since 1995. Absolutely shocking. Brandon, oh my gosh, I didn't know that was illegal. Wow. He says BOFA. Yeah, that just stands for Bank of America. It's one of their abbreviations. Hal, what's up, brother? Hal, Sam, much love to you, player. Same back to you, man. Did you find out about the test? How you doing? Happy Thanksgiving. Love to you, brother. I hope you have a nice turkey or vegetarian dish or whatever you eat. Hope you go for a nice walk. And I hope you either get a hand job or you give yourself a hand job. Why? Enjoy your life. I love you, brother. Very proud of you. What you did this year, you did a lot for yourself. You should be thankful. And you should continue. You have a positive attitude and show up. I love you, brother. UBG Vlogs. Yes, Brandon. Couldn't believe it. Good evening, Hal. Brandon, I'm not sure I'm catching your drift. Elises, thank you again, brother. A shout out to you and your son, Jaden. Paula, I know, Sam. I'm trying not to think about him. I've been crying all day, and it's a waste of time. You're in a very vicious cycle. I miss my son so much. I'm sorry to hear that. My ex-husband turned him against me. I'm still heartbroken. Well, like I say, if I was your brother or your son, it'd be very tough for me to maintain a relationship with you because you're in a very unhealthy place. But I understand that there is a mental problem, but I also understand you have a high level of intelligence. So it's a very tough situation. It's not easy. Paul, the last time I saw my son was 2017. I have empathy. That's not easy. I understand. Thank you again, Ulysses. Paula, I know, Sam. I'm trying to think about him. I've been crying all... Oh, I read this. Sorry. I double read. Brandon, that's an evil thing to do. I'm praying for your family. Much love. Yeah. Paula, I haven't even spoke to Thomas. I love my son so much. My ex-husband was controlling. Yeah, well, like I say, a dysfunctional relationship requires two things. An enabler and an abuser. So obviously, you're one of the two because you're in another dysfunctional relationship. So like I say, you got to take accountability. I believe that part of the 12 steps or whatever. So he may be a controller, but you're definitely you're an abuser of substance, and you may be an enabler. So you got to be very careful. Paula, now I'm crying about my son. It's not easy. Try to hang in there. Stay positive. No, it's not easy. Hell! $5 super chat. I find out in 6 months about my test. Wow, it takes 6 months. I think for my electrical exam, it took 3. So he finds out in 6 months if he passed the courtroom officer test he took. He goes, there's a lot going on in this chat tonight. Stay positive. That's excellent advice, brother. Sometimes I tell myself that. Hal, thank you for your positive attitude. Thank you for your hard work, man. It's really been a blessing to know you, man, over this past year. So thank you, man. We connected heavy last year, man, and it's been a blessing. Really appreciate you. We're getting close to getting caught up. Sorry again about your son, Paula. And then Brandon was saying that's no kind of family you want around you. Well, like I said, Paul's got to take accountability. She's part of the dysfunction. But, it's love and respect to everyone, but we have to be honest. UBG Vlogs, the guy molested a bunch of boys. The FBI was involved and it was plastered all over the news. I don't excuse abuse, but I also don't excuse enabling. So I also don't excuse the fact that you are back in an unhealthy relationship and you're abusing drugs. So I don't excuse his molestation. He should be prosecuted. But again, to go forward, we have to acknowledge not just other people's failures, but our own. And we have to work on being willing to, get away from that. So, but I know life's not easy, but I hear you. UBG Vlogs, I know Brandon, the brother was just released from prison last December. UBG, see, everyone thinks, like, Paul, I appreciate you sharing all this. Everyone thinks, like, Paula's going through some shit. Okay, she's been through some shit. So, maybe you got to deal with a political nut job in your family. Maybe you got to deal with, you don't like your house. Paula got a whole bunch of shit she's dealing with. Now, some of it's her own making. I ain't going to lie to her. But let's be thankful. And let's stay positive. UBG Vlogs. The family tried to pay me off to keep quiet. Bobbin in Maine, thank you again for joining and thank you for these tips, man. Truly appreciate that. Get to Florida, get to Lakeland, live your best life. Paula, the Hudson area are an influence family up in Ontario Peninsula. Brandon, wow. Paula, they used to own Point Lobos. They had to sell that big Surland trust as the over $1 million in land tax. Well, see, you inherited a bunch of money. See, that's why you also got to be careful that if you come from a family with money and, yeah, you can trade crypto because you can afford to lose. And what I've learned about rich people, and even people doing well, and I consider my times in life doing well, is we always got enough money in the bank to do what we got to do. We got to get off the road. You got enough money in the bank. Even if crypto totally craps out, you ain't going to be destitute. So, Brandon, you got to remember that too. Like, you may learn a lot from Paula. And I think Paula's a very intelligent woman. But, Brandon, you got to remember, everyone's playing with a different bag. Okay? And I even tell you guys this about the nomad life. So, Bob Wells got a bag. I got a bag. Everyone got a bag, right? So, just remember, listen to everyone because you can get wisdom from anyone. But you start trading crypto and you ain't got a good bag and you lose money, you got to remember the person you're taking advice from, they may got a bag that they can play with crypto the rest of their life. Just remember that. I hope you get something from that. Paula, Brandon, it caused my divorce. Paula also says, my husband didn't support me through all the court case. Hal, thank you again, brother. I see you. Appreciate you. Sorry for the late response on that. Charles, man, thank you again, man. You know what it is. Keep uploading those videos, man. You're getting better. Doing great. Bob Main, I'm bringing a camper. Oh, okay. I'm bringing a camper and have a spot. Oh, you have a spot for it through March? Awesome. I'm going to be doing some more camping videos because I'm staying at campgrounds more. Yeah, the hardest part to get a campground in Florida is January, February, March, the height of tourism season in South Florida and all Florida in the winter because everyone comes here, especially RVers. You got to reserve like a year in advance. But there are some places that you can still go, but you may have to pay a little bit more and they may not be the best places. But that's the one thing, like if I get an RV, Bobbin and everyone listening about nomads, I'm going to reserve campgrounds start in the next year. I'm going to start, if I get an RV in a couple months, then I'm going to go into the mindset of, all right, let me reserve campgrounds next winter. Because during the summer in Florida, I could do 1,000 trails. There's campgrounds open all, because everyone leaves after April, May. So I could just bounce around, no problem. But in the winter, once you have RV, now if I get Class B, I can still do some stealthing. But I do want to, kind of transition out of stealthing. So you got a camper, you got a travel trailer, Bob and Man? What type of camper you got? UBG Vlogs. I had to pull my son out of Robert Louis Stevenson School since the parents didn't want my son near their kids. ESP, I see you, and I appreciate your almost 2 years as a member. Thank you. Paula, the people in Ontario totally suck. Brandon, what a pitiful sick man. I hope you continue to heal and better your life and stay healthy and happy. Love will prevail all. I agree. Paula, I struggle with life every day. I understand that. I got love for you. Paula, why could my ex-husband turn my son against me? Well, because you have a substance abuse problem. There is a mental problem that you've also shared. And he's dysfunctional. So you got two dysfunctional people. It's very hard to make any rationality of it. And if I was your son or your brother, I would have very serious boundaries with you, or I could possibly even cut you off. So because it's very unhealthy to be around so much volatility. It could destroy, because all of us are struggling with life. So, like, I couldn't be around my mother when she would cook certain things. I couldn't be around certain people that are doing certain things. Why? Because I'm trying to get my shit together. So you just got to remember that. It's like, it doesn't mean you're still not a valuable person. Doesn't mean like your struggle isn't still legit. It just means you got to understand that, and we're all going through that, Some people may have to cut me off. I'm sure there's some people that say, I'm better off without him. I'm fair. I understand that. I mean, I don't think I ever do, but I understand. UBG Vlogs. I've been trading crypto for years. I'm just fine with crypto. Yeah, but you may have a big bag. Like I say, if you got a lot of money, then yeah, you could be fine with a lot of things because you don't really need crypto to survive. You know what I mean? Brandon, because that's how deep his self-hatred towards his own self, I would assume, Josh. Paula, you're so right, Brandon. The man is a control freak. Paula, I don't hear any accountability, Paula. I love you. Paula, yep, the music business was an addiction. I understand that. Paula, sex, drugs, rock and roll. I understand that. I was the big ravs and DJs. That it's time for percolated. I love promoting. I'm not mad at you. I was paid to do drugs and dance. Soul Train. Brandon, what a fun chapter in life that was laugh out loud. Yeah, I mean, we go through different phases in life. Got to keep your sense of humor. Paula, I made all my money in the music business. I was just smart. I believe you're smart. I've said that. And invested all of it. All of it in crypto? Come on now, Paula. Talk to me. I love you. Sure was, Brandon. Paula, Ozzy, my gay assistant, is in some of my videos. This is wild, man. Brandon, fun. Paula, heroin is called black. Oh, okay. Is that what that? Thank you for, I didn't know that. Thank you. Paula, oh my God. I'm getting banned from the chat. You're not getting banned. I'm reading all these comments. Come on. Never a dull moment with UBG Vlogs. Yeah, you brought a lot of excitement. Brandon, no, I truly enjoy being able to get to know you. Brandon's laughing. Hal, thank you again, brother. You know what it is. I'm thankful for you this year, every year, man. You're a good man, brother. I'm blessed to have known you. Savant, still with me, man. Shout out to all my truck drivers. Shout out to Savant. Shout out to Jacksonville. Savant, what's up, man? Happy Thanksgiving. I'm also happy for you, man. Thankful for you, excuse me. Savant, love to you. Hope you're doing well if you're out on the road delivering trucks, delivering a load, or if you're at home enjoying your holiday. Either way, brother, you know what it is. I've spent many nights in the truck stops, in the rest areas, and you know what it is, brother. Salute to everyone on the road, man. Charles, stay positive, 100. UBG Vlogs, exactly, Charles. Be kind to everyone. Yep, but you gotta have boundaries. UBG Vlogs, I'm so happy that I moved to LA, as the people up north suck. It's camel after all. Yeah, I like camel toe. UBG Vlogs, I didn't come from the Hudson family. I only have the name Hudson. I used to, Zamaraska, my maiden name. I didn't come from wealthy family. It was my husband's family. Okay. Bob and Maine. Okay, Bob and Maine has a 2002 Sunlight 2613 slide. Okay, I'll have to Google that. So that's good. So you got a very cost-effective camper. So that's good. That means you're living below your means. You probably got a lot of flexibility. And that's what, look, I still do, man. I'm at a campground, not now, but I'm going back to one. And Yeah, I really still do like the RV life. Are you living full time, Bob and Maine, in the RV, or do you have a home base? Hal, yeah, Soul Train. Remember Soul Train? Uh, who was Don Cornelius? Charles, I missed this. I'm sorry, man. For Sammy's amazing grace. Let's stay positive. I want to tell you, thank you, Charles, man. Thank you. Oh my God, I caught all the chats. Charles, thank you. UBG Vlogs. Yes, all in crypto. God bless you. I only hold enough cash, even if that's in Bitcoin, so I can use all my crypto debit card. Okay, teach their own. Hal, I like camel toe. Praise the Lord. So yeah, I appreciate I can make you laugh, brother, because I am thankful for free porn, and I plan on going back to my campsite and enjoying myself. She goes, it's actually camel. Savat, I'm good, Sam. Awesome. Been enjoying Florida weather. Now's the best time. Well, I like it a little bit hotter, but I'm very thankful. Caught another shark. You call a shark, man? God bless you. Life is good. Savat, man, thumbs up to you, brother. Bob Maine, got the RV exclusively. Oh, okay, just to bring to Florida? That's awesome. Yeah, I still like the nomad life, man. I mean, I'm looking at a home base, but I still do like the nomad life, I want to tell you. But I definitely like, we're ending on this, I definitely like minimalism, man. It's really helped me. It's really allowed me to just focus on more about things I'm passionate about. I know Varex had brought that up earlier in the chat about, like, trying to, basically was trying to get, I agree. We want to do things we're passionate about, but I just wanted to add, sometimes to get to our passion, we have to go through things we don't want to do so that when we get to our passionate place, we have some work ethic and discipline to cultivate our passion and deliver it to ourselves and then to others. But either way, guys and girls, I hope I acknowledged all the live comments. I want to say thank you. You guys have been very gracious on the super chats. You've been very gracious on the memberships and those who watch, and a thumbs up. Also, Denise is here. Hey, Denise, that was an excellent comment you left on my video today with that house. I totally agree with you. Talking about like the multiple sinks and everything. This was a wild ride tonight. Well, I appreciate you being part of it, and thank you for that great comment you left today. I read that. Hal, Sam, tell everyone how you feel about people who go fishing. I always laugh at that. Yeah, look, I still eat fish. So, yeah, everyone has a different way of life, and let's stay positive. That's all I want to tell you. So that's how we going to say it. Let's stay positive, Hal. I love you, brother, but I get it. UBG Vlogs. Hey there, Denise. Denise. Hey, Paula. I'm praying for you. Amen. All right, guys and girls, I'm exhausted. I want to run in there and get a quick soda before I go back to my campsite. They close at 9. I want to thank everyone again. I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. I'll see you tomorrow. Why? Because unlike most establishments, I don't change my hours during holidays. I show up every day, okay? God willing. I do a regular video, which is coming tomorrow on Thanksgiving. I do a live feed, which is coming tomorrow night. And that's going to happen on Thanksgiving, Hanukkah, Christmas, Kwanzaa, New Year's, Chinese New Year's. Why? Because a positive attitude and consistency will take you a lot further than many things in this world. Okay. Thank you for watching. Now, I've only developed that, though, through, doing things I didn't like to do.